At this point, you have probably already seen Bong Joon Ho's award-winning 2019 masterpiece, Parasite. It's a wonderful film, and if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. Welcome to the review where we love cinema, stories, and concepts. This week, we're taking a look at Parasite, and for this episode, I will assume that you have already seen it, so spoiler alert. The worldwide appeal of the film highlights how perhaps through globalization, we may now all be living in the same country, a country we can call capitalism. Bong Joon Ho is a visual novelist, an artist, and the story that he paints in this film is a colorful reflection upon the promise of capitalism and the precarious underpinnings that hold it up. From the title alone, Parasite, we can venture a guess that the film is going to be about the parasitic relationship where one organism, the parasite, lives off of another, the host, harming it and possibly causing death. The fact that the host is left out of the film title may mean that by the end of the film, though, it still will be unclear who the parasite is and who is the host. Are the Kims preying on the naivety of the Parks, or are the Parks living off the hard work of the Kims? It's debatable, and perhaps Bong is trying to say something here. Are we ultimately all parasites in a capitalistic society? If you had to tell someone, or better yet show someone what Parasite is about, then I don't think you can go wrong by showing them just this scene. This scene runs approximately 7 minutes and comes about an hour and a half into the film. Within it, I think Bong perfectly encapsulates the entire film's theme of parasitic capitalism. We start with the Parks enjoying life, oblivious to the reality of the situation, drowsily content drifting to sleep above the struggle of those frantically alert under them. Watching the Kim family flee the Parks residence, it's hard to miss the downward trajectory they must travel to get from the Parks' lavish life to the squalor of their own surroundings. Bong uses this gradual descent as an artistic way to represent the differing class positions of the Park and Kim families. Bong himself has commented on how Parasite is his stairway movie, an exploration of class difference through the examination of every available rung on that class ladder. Starting with the subterranean half-basement apartment of the Kim family, with a single window allowing barely a hope-filled glimpse above the ground, we come to a conclusion with Ki-woo peering out the massive upstairs window of the Parks residence. Though the Parks enjoy this wide and privileged vantage point, they are somehow blind to the threat rising up at them. Bong masterfully also uses the infrastructure of the city itself to cement in our minds a system that makes this staircase reality possible. The quality of light shifts as the Kims make their way home from the pure white and clean light enjoyed by the affluent upper class to the smoky, moldy yellow that permeates the lower class. It's no coincidence, I think, that the first time viewers see the radiant sun is when Ki-woo moves up the stairs to the Park household. Clear views of a limitless sky are obscured by the reality of the mechanics that make it all possible. For the lower class, the wires that power the system are visible and overwhelming. Like a spider web, they get ensnared in the system while the fat upper class spiders easily glide over the web, oblivious to the sticky nature of the trap. Mr. Park himself is so unaware of the mechanics of his own house that he believes the lights on his ascent are operated by motion, like magic. The flood that comes as a result of the downpour is a tragedy that sadly will become all too familiar in the future. Based on a scenario by the International Panel on Climate Change, the International Organization on Migration estimates that rising sea levels could adversely affect up to 5% of the world's population, or roughly 310 million people. It's not a stretch to imagine that Bong is touching on how climate change will unfairly affect those that cannot pay their way to safety. After all, his 2012 movie Snowpiercer dealt with climate change as well. I really don't think there are villains in this movie, at least not in the traditional sense. I don't think the Parks are evil or naive, and I don't think the Kims are victims or exploitative. I don't think Bong Joon Ho set out to make a movie about evil, powerful people feeding off of the pure, humble, and weak. Both families have flaws, and both families are made of people who lie to themselves and others. I think the real villain, if there is one, is the system that makes all this possible, maybe even necessary. It's that system that creates a rung for each individual, a college dropout in a position to teach a college hopeful, a Photoshop whiz mentoring an existential artist, and a man who has no direction in a job as a driver, knowing that owning a car is a near impossibility for him or his family. So what's the message here? Like Bong's hallway movie, Snowpiercer, it seems the director is hinting at something structural here. It seems that he's hinting that it's not the people, but the staircase that must be torn apart. But then there's the lure of capitalism, which makes us all believe that all we need to do is just walk up the stairs. Well, thank you for watching, and if you like the show, please like and subscribe. I have a blast making these videos. We obviously give this film 4 suns out of 5, and see you next time on The Review.